And just around a little bit to make it easy the first time. We're supposed to take attendance. So who's that on how?
I do it, and I've been taking the attendance.
Okay.
So I think I've got everyone that's listed here on the participant side. Very
good. So we're good to move on to the next item, which is the approval of the agenda. Do I have to call for discussion of the agenda first? Is that how that works? Susie?
I think you
additions or corrections to the agenda is what it's.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Just any additions or corrections to the agenda.
Okay, so are there any additions or corrections to the agenda that anybody would like to see?
This is Cruz. I move to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
This is Katie, I second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
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 Okay.
Aye.
The next item is the approval of the minutes of the last meeting, which was in January. And did everybody get a copy of that? And is there anything that anybody would like to discuss or add about the minutes of the January agenda? That's a no. So does anybody have a motion to approve the, somebody?
I'll move to approve the January minutes.
Thank you. Now that, I don't remember your name, the person that just, what was it?
Michelle.
Shell. Can you put your name on your, do you know how to do that?
Oh, it's not showing up as, oh, it just says me.
It says owner, yeah.
How do I change that?
Well, there should be a little drop down in the upper right corner of your, but I don't know if your device is the same as mine. Anybody else have information or help with that? Changing the name in Cisco meetings. I'm more familiar with Zoom. If not, we can move along.
We need a second, Mara.
And do we have a second to approve those minutes from January? I can't do that, right? Somebody has to.
I can second.
Thank you, Sasha.
Mm-hmm.
And all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Okay, item 4 on the agenda is open public comment. Anyone who's not on the agenda who would like to address the commission must inform the chair at this time. It doesn't look like we have anybody to do that. So I guess we move along then to the reports, item 5, unless somebody objects and thinks that I'm missing something here. Any thoughts? No? All right, item 5, the excuse me just a second. Reports. The first one would be the chair's report, and the only thing I report is that I kind of squared things away with Susie regarding how things are going to be communicated to this group. And I think we also squared away access to the Google Drive. Did we do that for everybody, Susie?
I don't believe we touched Google Drive. Maybe I'm mistaken. But,
well, Mary, I thought I put that in an email, and Mary responded that, thank you, we've got that now. So I guess not. So is that something we've done in the past where everybody on this commission has had access to the Google Drive?
Yes, but that was not managed by the city side. I believe it was managed by other members of HRC. So I'm not sure.
I think secretary.
It's a secretary's function. Is that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gee. Okay. I will get that taken care of.
You will. Wonderful. So yeah, by the next meeting, you can maybe just report that.
Yeah, I hope to have it within the week.
Terrific. Okay, that's good enough, I think. I wanted to mentioned that anybody that wanted items to be placed on the agenda, I'm asking that you notify me 1 week ahead of any meeting before I get that out to Susie to publish to everybody. And then I'd like to make sure that everybody has a chance to do something that they care about here and are fully heard and are able to participate excellently. So I was wondering if this is the right time to have a conversation about what's important for this commission. I mean, we do have a work plan that's carrying over from the last membership this commission, and we'll carry that forward. But I guess I'm interested in what people are care about the most, what you're passionate about. And if you don't want to communicate that to me here in the meeting, please, if that's all right with procedure, is it, and this is something that's, I'm not certain about after reading the public meeting basics for city commissions. There's something in there about not having conversations outside of the meetings. But I'm thinking that it should still be okay to solicit thoughts about what you're passionate about through email. Does that sound like it's okay?
You
Hello?
just can't have, Mara, you just can't have a significant amount of us together discussing committee business offline. If people
Yeah,
want
okay,
to talk
so
to you offline about their interests and stuff, that's okay. It's
okay,
just
very
as
good.
a
So yeah, so I just
committee, we can't do that.
and I wanted to have a conversation about what kind of things should we work on versus what kind of things should we avoid. Now, the reason that I bring that up is someone sent me an email about ranked choice voting, and to me that's, I don't know if that's a human rights issue. You know, I'm interested in the thoughts of this body on that particular item, and any thought that anybody has about what kind of things we shouldn't do, as well as what we should do. Anybody have a thought?
I forget exactly what the details were, but the ranked choice voting has kind of died several times here because someone was able to clarify that it needs to be on a vote of some sort, and it's like the election years were always off. I don't know if anyone ever remembers the details from that.
I don't. So does that mean that that's something that we maybe don't want to spend time with? Is that where you feel, or anybody else feels? Walter, you had something.
You know, instinctively, it seems appropriate to me. I think the ability to vote in a certain way seems relevant to human rights. I mean, voting and protection and democracy and protecting and getting one's opinion about the election seems to be relevant to human rights.
Okay.
I don't know to what degree this commission has the authority or the ability to make it happen, but it seems appropriate for the discussion to begin here and forward it to whatever organization or group has the ability to make it happen.
Okay.
That's my 2 points. As far as what's happened in the past, it seems there's plenty of documentation to see what's happened in the past, and then we can build from that.
Anybody else have a thought?
Chairperson?
Yes, Mike.
I know that Bob McKay did a lot of work on this previously with this commission, and I do think it's a point of interest for the city to maybe do some more research in that area.
Okay.
But all of Bob's work should be on the Google Drive that we have, and I know he did quite a bit. So I do think it does fit within the realm of this commission, and I do think the city has some interest in this group doing some more work on that issue.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Mike.
You bet.
KTA,
I'll get that changed. I'll figure that one out too. So we had quite a bit of discussion, and it's a pretty vague, the scope and what we can get into. And if we look at the bylaws and the charter, it talks about, you know, education and all of those types of things. So it might be a good discussion, especially during orientation, for us to talk about what our charter says and what our scope is.
That's a good idea, I think. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, and did everybody get that city council memorandum? This one, that is about equity, inclusion, training, and orientation, which is basically the, correct me if I'm wrong, Susie, is the orientation for commissioners, basically. Is that right?
Yes, and it is not mandatory, but it is heavily suggested that you attend.
Right, yeah, and I second that. I haven't ever been part of an orientation, even though I've been around for a year now almost. So I intend to attend, and I absolutely encourage everybody else to do the same, so that we are all familiar with how things should go down here. So, and the options there are March 24th, 25th, and March 30th. Please sign up for one of them. And that's pretty much, that is all I have. And next would be the vice chair. I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
Tyler had his hand up. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tyler, please. You're muted, I think. Possibly. You're not hearing you. No audio. No. Is anybody here, Tyler? No. Still can't hear you. Technical difficulty, it looks like. Nothing.
Tyler, you may want to check to make sure that whatever device you're using, you've given the program permission to use your microphone. I'm not sure where you would do that, but you need to do that.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you how to do that either. You can use chat like Mary said.
Well, Tyler's getting that done.
Yeah.
When I looked at the partnerships, it's helps to secure the human rights and equal opportunity for the residents of Richfield in the area of housing, employment, public accommodation, public service, and education. So it's pretty broad.
Right, that's true. Very broad. Okay. Tyler I would look at that more as a part of the greater conversation, not necessarily a direct initiative in and of itself. That's what Tyler had to say. Well, you could read that. Yeah, no, I mean, I am persuaded that we should pursue that. So we will. I'm not sure yet how, but we will. And Kate, did you have something as the vice chair?
I do. I would like to say that I finally remembered to go pick up the stuff. So I have all of our inventory now, the t-shirts and display items and everything like that.
Okay, very good. Anything further?
Nope.
All right. KTA, what you got?
I have nothing at this time, maybe in the future.
All right. Up next is Liaison Reports. I'll start with Mary. Well, wait, I'm sorry. It would be Allegra, who is not here tonight. We'll start with Mary for the City Council.
So first of all, for those of you that are new, welcome. My name is Mary Supple, and I'm the City Council person at large, and I'm the liaison to this committee. And I learned all about the HRC last year and was very impressed with all the different programs and things that people are working on. So I think that those of you that are joining are gonna really enjoy being part of this committee. We just, as a city, hired an equity and inclusion administrator, Bill Green, and I think he'll be working with this committee a great deal. And I'm just getting to know him, but I've been very impressed with him. So I think that'll be awesome. And that I see that the chair has already talked about the trainings. And so I won't get into that. And I know later on in the meeting, you're going to talk about the work plan. And so I'm going to just stop talking right now and say, welcome everybody, and let you get about your business.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I was kind of expecting to see William Green tonight. Did anybody know? He was invited, right? I mean, he got the agenda. Isn't this part of what he might be doing as a equity inclusion person?
He was
Anybody
sent the
know?
meeting invite in the documents.
I'm sorry?
He was sent the meeting invite in the documents.
Okay, so nobody has any idea why he is not here with us tonight?
I have not heard.
All right. Because I was kind of thinking that he'd be a pretty key member of this commission, right? I mean, he'd be, in addition to the liaison with the city council, he would be pretty key to how we operate, I'm thinking. So we got to get him here, I think. What do you think, Mary?
Well, we will let him know that he is welcome. Thank you.
We'll let him know that he's welcome. Yeah, there you go. All right, Mike, the police department.
My name's Mike Flaherty. I am one of the city liaisons to the HRC. And it's my understanding that Bill Green will be the co-liaison. So we'll have to work on that to make sure he gets to the meetings. But anyway, welcome to everybody, all the new members. We really appreciate your service. And I think it's really important that we have people in the community that are willing to give up their time to participate in city government. And so we really appreciate it, and welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Moving on to new business. First order of business is introduce, and I'm thinking that we let each of the new folks say a little bit about themselves and what brings them to the commission and what their background is, just a little bit, just a couple minutes. Starting with Anne. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. My name's Anne. I am the mother of 7 children. My children are members of various groups. I have children that are LGBTQ. I have children who are disabled. I have children who are both LGBTQ and disabled. So that's a whole other layer of concern in my life for their safety and well-being. I love people anyway, so this work would interest me even if I didn't have a vested interest in human rights, but I also do. So I've lived in Richfield for 13 years. I've lived in Minnesota for 18 years, and I'm originally from California.
Great. Thank you, Anne. It's good to have you here. We, Anne and I were there the night that Richfield passed its gender inclusion policy over at the high school. So it's nice to see a familiar face joining the commission.
Excited to work with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Next is Tiffany. And is it pronounced Biley? Tiffany? How do you pronounce your name? Oh, you're muted, huh? Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. Thank
okay,
you.
Perfect. It's Bigley. So I'm
you.
Tiffany Bigley. And
Hi, Tiffany Bigley.
I have lived in Richfield for about 4 years now. Me and my husband moved here after I graduated college in Wisconsin in River Falls. And we first lived in the concierge apartments, and then we loved the community so much. We actually bought our first home here last April. And human rights has always been something me and my husband have been very passionate about, that and sustainability. So when places opened up for the commissions, the Human Rights Commission was something that I was always really intrigued with, and just accessibility to things is something that I am very passionate about, making sure that everybody has the ability to easily access every of their current needs. So I'm really excited about working on projects with that. And other than that, I'm not too interested. We have been just kind of fixing up this house. We live on like Pillsbury, so fixing up housework is basically all I do now.
Very good. Thanks, Tiffany, and welcome. Next is Tyler. I don't know if you figured out how to be heard yet, Tyler. If not, we have not figured that out yet. So perhaps we'll give you a special opportunity to introduce yourself next time.
Tyler, are you plugged into your computer? If you're not plugged into, unplug your computer, unplug your headphones from your computer and see if that works.
Nothing yet.
No.
I didn't do it. Okay, next time, Tyler. It's nice to have you. Welcome to the commission. And lastly, Walter, please take it away, sir.
Hi, my name is Walter Burke. I'm currently a staff attorney at the Minnesota Assistance Council for Veterans. We're an organization that helps veterans avoid homelessness. Been an attorney for a little over 20 years. All of my work as an attorney has either been with the courts or with legal aid organizations. Before McAfee, I was working at Central Minnesota Legal Services. So, you know, my professional life as an attorney has been focused on public interest law. Been in Minnesota about 30 years and been living in Richfield a little over 6-7 years, and very happy to be here. Originally from New Jersey, so don't ask me how to pronounce anything around here. I still can't. I can't figure out how Minnesotans pronounce things. Like there's a city west of us called Wayzata, as far as I'm concerned, but I don't know how you all pronounce things. So
I don't know. I guess you can just watch Fargo to learn.
I've watched that, and I've listened to you know, radio programs about the area, and I'm the last person that knows how to pronounce things, so that I will always step back from. But I'm very happy.
It's awesome that we have a lawyer on the commission.
Well, yeah, I want to quickly quash any
come on,
any excessive happiness about that. I'll be very reluctant to give a legal opinion, but I'll certainly give legal information, and if I have to explain the difference when I will, I will. But
all right, we'll see how that good give and take goes.
Fair enough. But one of my interests is to bring some kind of legal clinic to Richfield. That's a personal interest. Is if through the city and through this commission, I mean, you've got Best Buy. You know, whether you know it or not, they have so many attorneys in there that I'm sure would love to volunteer and give free legal advice at a yearly clinic. And you have some very good law firms in the city. And I'm sure if each of those could provide an attorney, and if Best Buy could provide resources to have a legal clinic once a year, I think it would benefit the city, especially in terms of human rights. So that's my agenda, and I'm just going to lay it out there.
Yeah, and you know, if you'd like to discuss that a little more, I don't know how anybody else feels about it, but I'd be interested in talking about doing some kind of a legal clinic, or maybe we should talk right now about adding that to our agenda, our work plan.
I'd be very happy.
I don't know exactly what you mean. Can you maybe explain that just a little bit? What does that look like?
Sure. A legal clinic is it's an opportunity for the public to go to a single location where you have volunteer attorneys, give them free legal advice, and to direct them to resources to get help with any legal issues that they have.
And you think that there are attorneys in Richfield that work for Best Buy who would be willing to help with that effort?
I think they would, yeah. That attorneys are encouraged to do what's called pro bono efforts, which means
Yeah,
to,
no.
to volunteer their time. And I think what's tough for attorneys corporate attorneys like at Best Buy, they don't represent the public. They're working on behalf of Best Buy, giving legal advice to Best Buy. And I'm sure a good number of them would like the opportunity to work directly with the public and give legal advice to the public. I'm not saying all of them will, but I guarantee there's a good number of attorneys there. And if you got 5, even 1% of them to give some advice, that's a lot of advice.
It sounds like a really good thing to put on for minority communities.
Yeah.
For our Latino community and for the Somali community that we have in Richfield.
And there are some small private law firms that specialize in different areas of law, family law. Some of them specialize in Social Security law. People who want to apply for Social Security disability may not know how to do it.
That's awesome.
So there's I think that there's an opportunity there. I don't know.
That all sounds like wonderful human rights stuff to me.
Yeah.
So
Is there a motion to put that onto our work plan?
That's my job. Is there a motion to put that onto our work plan?
If I can, I'll make the motion.
Second? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Very good. All right,
So,
yeah. It's on.
Walter made the motion. Who seconded it?
Tiffany.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then anything else, Walter?
No, that's it. Very nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Nice to have you. And actually, the thing that I was thinking about when I said it was great to have a lawyer, just to tell you, is that I'm going to be spearheading an effort to ban conversion therapy in Richfield. And there'll be legal questions. So that's why I said that. But, if you're not available to answer, we'll go somewhere else.
Well, as I mentioned, we can certainly talk about legal information and legal advice. And I'm more than happy to get legal information.
Thank you. And the next item of new business I had was to talk with and meet Mary.
Can I just have a point of personal privilege? Can the veteran members introduce themselves as well? Because the newer members don't know the people that have been here before.
Yeah, that's absolutely appropriate. I appreciate that. And I'll go first. How about that? My name is Mark Glupka. I've been with the commission for a year. I was just elected chair. I don't know what I'm doing much yet, but I'm also very involved in the community. I'm the director of Transforming Families Minnesota, a support group for transgender youth and their parents. I'm a part of the RA Minnesota, Women's March Minnesota. I'm on the Community Advisory Board of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the Community Advisory Board of a clinic in Burnsville that takes care of youth, trans and non-binary youth. I'm the father of, I know I don't look like a father, sorry. But I am a parent to 3 grown sons in their 30s. And what else is good here? No. I transitioned. I'm transgender. I think that's probably pretty clear to everybody. I transitioned about 9 years ago. And I'm happy for it. Very, very happy for it. So, who wants to go next? Should I call on somebody? Let's call on the vice chair, Katie Gutimote.
Gutimote, yeah.
Gutimote, sorry.
Yeah. So I'm Katie Gutimote. I am on, this is my 3rd full year. I had like a few months of someone else's term that I served before this. But this will be my 3rd and last year on the commission. I am originally from Florida. I went to the University of Florida. I have a degree in religion. I've lived in Richfield for I think 12 years now. And my husband and I really love Minnesota. Neither of us is from here. But we really love it here. And I wanted to be able to give something back to the community. I am a Hellenic polytheist, which means I'm a pagan. I worship the Greek gods. And my husband is half Chinese, and we have a dog and 2 bunnies.
Which half of your husband is Chinese?
From his mom.
Okay, how about Chris, the secretary? You're muted, Chris.
All of these interesting things to keep track of. Chris Anderson, we have been in Richfield for 3 years. I've been on starting my 3rd year with the Human Rights Committee. I retired about 2 years ago. By background, I am an RN graduated from the University of Minnesota and have my master's in organizational leadership from St. Kate's. And so I've kind of gone back and forth from hospital and clinic management to doing process improvement, Six Sigma, lean certification, and meeting and process project facilitation. And so I'm enjoying my retirement, and we adopted a 18-month-old rescue dog who is probably too young for 2 retired adults, but we're working through it.
Thank you, Chris. Let's see, that's all the officers. So how about we go with Sasha next?
Sure. So I'm Tasha Ostendorf. I've been on the Human Rights Commission for 3 years, I think. Yeah, I think I joined in 2018. I lived in Richfield since 2017. I'm originally from the St. Cloud area, so I'm from Minnesota. I've lived here all of my life, except for I lived in Arizona for 3 years when I went to grad school. I'm a neuroscientist, and I'm currently working at the American Academy of Neurology. And my research
neuroscientist.
Yeah, yep, that's my day job.
Impressive.
It's incredibly interesting. So I've always been interested in human rights issues, and my scientific work is actually based in a lot of image perception and bias and sort of belief systems and kind of what that looks like in your brain. So I've kind of been able to meld what I love about the brain and what I love about social justice issues. So it's been a really, really fun time with that. And yeah, I've really enjoyed my time on the HRC.
Great. Thank you, Tasha. So what's left is Susie and Mike. Who wants to go first?
There's me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't know why it's showing up as owner because I signed in anyhow. I'm Michelle Thompson. We've lived in Richfield for 30. It'll be 36. Let's see, 35 years. We moved in just before my son's first birthday back in 1987. I'm sorry. So I retired from work at the University of Minnesota after 41 years back in June of 2018. Started out as a secretary in several different departments and ended up my last 9 years as an accountant in the office for the provost and president's office. But I've been retired for 2.5 years now, and I'm really enjoying it. I joined, I've been on 3 or 4 different commissions. It got to the point where my 4 or 5-year-old son knew more people when we go out in the community than I did, which seemed really odd. So I joined the Centennial Celebration Commission for 2 years when we were planning the celebration 100th anniversary of Richfield back in 2008. And then when that celebration year was over, I joined the Community Service Commission for 9 years, during which I also served as liaison to the Arts Commission. And then I took a year off during the year I retired just to see what was out there, and really missed being part of the community, knowing what was going on in the community more. So this is now my 3rd year on the Human Rights Commission. And And so I'm trying to figure out whether I'm going to re-up or look for another commission and learn more aspects of the community. But and this commission is really of special interest because of the human rights, because I'm a bit disabled. I got run over by a bus 37 years ago, so I have grafts on both of my legs. So I can still get around, but there's that disability. And my son has Asperger's, so he's got that disability. And lastly, I've got the school system in Richfield is just awesome, because all through his years of school, they worked so closely and so well with us to help us work with him and his autism and schooling and stuff. And so yeah, the school system in Richfield is doing really good work. So.
Awesome. And that's very surprising to hear that you were run over by a bus. I have to say.
Well, it wasn't.
And I didn't see that one coming.
But
so I'm glad you survived.
Yeah, I am too.
Okay, how about Mike? What do you got, Mike?
Yep, I've been a police officer in Richfield for 24 years. I've loved coming to work and serving the citizens of Richfield for 24 years. It's been a great career. Before that, I was in the Air Force. So Walter, thanks for what you do, helping out the vets. My whole family's military, so that's really cool that you give back in that way. And before that, I went to the University of Minnesota and have a degree in political science, in history. So.
And you're the deputy police chief, right?
Yep, deputy chief, yep. So I've come up through the ranks. I've held every rank in the PD, pretty much every position in the police department. And like I said, it's been really great.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Yep, you bet.
Susie, oh, did you have more, Mike? I'm sorry.
No, just a thank you.
And Susie, would you, as you introduce yourself, please explain your role with the commission?
Sure. My name is Susie. I work directly for the deputy chief. I help him run these WebEx meetings and then disseminate information on his behalf sometimes, such as the welcome packets, getting out the meeting agenda and minutes, posting those to the city website, et cetera, et cetera. I'm from California, born and raised there. I have a degree in forestry and environmental ethics, and I also have a degree in law enforcement. I've lived in Richfield for the past 11 years with my husband, our dog, and 3 cats. And
3 cats?
Yeah. Anyone want a cat? No.
You're a cat lady then. Is that
No.
what you're saying?
And my husband and I have been to all 50 states.
Okay.
Wow.
That's awesome. Thanks, Susie. And I never mentioned that I'm Minnesota born and raised. I'm from Winona, Minnesota originally. And I moved to Twin Cities in 1977. And what else was there? There was something else. I don't remember.
Maura, I have a point of order. We
Yes,
never voted on the motion to add the clinic stuff to the work plan.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. And would it be out of order to bring that up now then?
No, we need to go back and bring it up and vote.
Okay. Well, I believe we just finished doing the introduction, so we can do that. So all in, did we do the motions or did we not?
We did the motion, we just never
Did.
voted on it.
And we've already discussed it, so it's just a matter of, okay, so all in favor of adding a legal clinic effort to our work plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I believe that's passed and Walter, would you be the person that would be interested in kind of spearheading that effort if we do that?
Yep, I'd be fine with that. Thank you.
That would be wonderful. Okay, so we'll put that on there. Are we good on that? I think we are. Okay. Let's see. I lost my agenda. I got a lot of paper here. All right, and the last item I had under new business was to discuss the purpose and direction of the commission for the rest of 2021, and I believe we already kind of covered that, so we don't need to, unless anybody has more on that topic that they'd like to share. We've already added an item. Go ahead.
Question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, amazingly, yes. Hey, talk away, talk away.
I guess kind of just basically related to, the immediate pressing thing that's kind of taken up the last year is Richfield. Well, what are we doing to help make sure that there's, place to be vaccinated? Do we really have any city-based plans, or is it kind of coming from a, more of a county and state and federal level? Or is there anything that we can do to help organize that and I guess make it more efficient, whatever we can do? I don't know if that's something that's really been thought about at a city level yet, or what the case is.
I have no idea. Does anybody else have anything about regarding a vaccination effort in the city?
Deputy Chief Flaherty, do you want to answer that, or do you want me to take a shot at it, or
whoever?
The chief is the emergency manager for the city, but and it's really not in my wheelhouse. He does all of that. But what I will say is we do not belong. We have our own public health. We belong to Bloomington Public Health. So it's Edina, Richfield, and Bloomington that belong to that group. And yeah, there's efforts to get the community vaccinated, but I don't have any details related to that.
Mary, do you have something?
the one thing I can add is that they have just opened up through Bloomington Public Health 2 more vaccination sites in the area. And so tomorrow night, we're going to have a tour in the council members around. So one of them is at Creekside in Bloomington. I don't know the official name, but I think it used to be the community center. But at Creekside in Bloomington is opening up. At the Mall of America, there's also a spot. And right now, I think they're working on things like the essential workers. I know several teachers have been getting vaccines there. And so I think they're getting all that up and running. So those are just have gotten started in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully that's going to ramp up. So as they work through the system the state has set up, that there'll be opportunities nearby for people to get.
Is there something that the council's doing about that, Mary?
Well, basically, as Deputy Chief Flaherty said, our police chief, Jay Hanthorne, is the emergency planner person. And then, is it Jennifer Anderson? Correct me if I'm wrong, is also works with Bloomington Public Health. And so we're letting Bloomington Public Health is taking the lead on that. And Richfield is part of that, as you mentioned, with Edina and Bloomington. So we're letting kind of the health professionals do it, and we're working together with them to support them.
I don't understand what public health is. What does that mean? There are 3 communities
so
together.
There's like, you know, there's like the CDC at the national level, and there's the Minnesota Department of Health does public health.
All right.
And then there's county-wide public health. So Hennepin County has a public health department, but we're one of the few municipalities that has a local public health division that works with our 3 communities and works together. And that actually, I think, has been very helpful during the pandemic, that we've got a local level. So it's more focused rather than having to count on the whole county-wide or the statewide system.
And I'm assuming that has a board of people that run that?
I assume there's there's probably whatever the professional structure is. I don't know the details of it. I know our advisory board of health works with them too.
Do you know where we can contact that group? Is that something that can just Google?
Yeah, there's a big website for Bloomington Public Health, and maybe somebody else on the call knows.
And that's what it's called
as well.
Bloomington Public Health, and Richfield is part of it. Okay.
And Richfield and Edina. Others may know more about it than I do.
Anybody know more? And?
About Richfield, Edina, Bloomington Public Health.
You can't hear you. You're chopping up.
about the Bloomington, Richfield, Edina public health in general.
Yes. And who to contact if we wanted to find out about a vaccination effort and maybe partner with them somehow as a commission.
I used to work for them.
You used to work for them?
I used to work for them. I was a breastfeeding counselor for WIC.
Okay.
So I used to work for them.
Do you have an in there?
I have a few people I can call, yeah.
Interesting. All right.
I'm happy to do that.
Well, maybe you could find out information about vaccination programs in the communities, especially Richfield, obviously, because that's us. But
yep.
And then maybe, yeah, report back next time.
I know they run the Richfield WIC clinic out of the Central School. So that might even be a location at some point.
Okay.
I'll find out more.
That'd be awesome. Thanks. Anything else on the purpose and direction of the commission this year? And I also, one of the things that I've been thinking about is it kind of seems like the pandemic is coming to an end this year, maybe even by the time the next school year rolls around. So I'm assuming, and I've never been to an in-person Human Rights Commission meeting, but I'm assuming that we might be back on for doing in-person meetings again this year. Does that, and did we do that before? We did that before, right? And is there a thought about sticking with sticking with online, sticking with virtual, as opposed to meeting in person? I'm curious. I'm a big meeting in person type person, so I'm anxious to get back into meeting with people and being in the same space with them a lot. I'm really looking forward to that. What was it like before, Mary? You must know, or anybody who's been on the commission for a while. Where did we meet?
Yeah, there are meeting rooms at City Hall.
At City Hall, is that right, Mary? Is that where we're meeting? And do we anticipate that they will be back there this year? What do you think? Anybody?
I'm a little pessimistic until this fall with the new strains coming out. It's making me very nervous.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to get used to the idea, and I'm hoping that's coming. Very much so. Okay. Anybody else have anything that would fall under the heading of new business that they'd like to discuss? Anyone?
I guess I have another one potentially. Oh, sorry.
Yes, sir. Please.
Just the ongoing efforts that we're seeing, numerous states, I think it's up to 43 now, that are potentially proposing legislation to, restrict voting access, which I think would very much be kind of right in our wheelhouse and something that we would want to, whatever efforts we can do to make sure our lawmakers know that we do not want to make it more difficult to vote.
Yeah, well, since we just decided that ranked choice voting comes into the wheelhouse of the Human Rights Commission, that certainly can as well. I like that idea because, yeah, it's like an all-out effort right now, isn't it, to try and make sure that what happened last year doesn't happen again, which is too many people voted, basically, right? Yeah, too many people voted, and that meant that our side couldn't win, or something to that effect. Yeah. No, I like the idea of adding that to the agenda as well. And if we were to do that, what would we call it? What would we? Tyler, what do you think? What would it be called? What are we going to do?
Like the overall voting kind of discussion?
Well, I mean, I think what you're getting at is that we want to try and do something that prevents voter suppression. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
and as well, see and make sure that, whether it be through outreach or something like that, make sure that everyone here feels that they have easy access, to voting, whatever the election is, local, state, federal.
Well, I mean,
So
I think that we're dealing with Richfield here. We should probably stick with that. I mean, yeah, we want to talk about voting in general.
right. I meant, yeah, like where they go in their voting within Richfield, like all the residents within Richfield, yeah, feel that they are, yeah.
So would we call it something like access to, no, let's see. It wouldn't be our own Voting Rights Act. It would be some kind of Voting Access Act. Richfield's Voter Access Policy
Initiative.
or
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you know what? How about we do this? How about you come up with a name and think about what we might do, and then you share that with us next time.
Okay.
A rough idea of how we go about doing preventing voter suppression as a Human Rights Commission. Not that it's my job to give homework, but you brought it up.
Just for the minutes, how about that I just label it voter access?
Voter access effort, whatever, yeah, sure.
So I have something that I'm hoping maybe you guys can give me some clarification or feedback on how to narrow the focus. The police department recently made it clear that they have stickers for families to put on their vehicle or their home that identify that somebody in the house has autism or special needs, dementia or Alzheimer's, or is deaf or hard of hearing. Because I'm part of the disability community in Richfield, especially parents of disabled children, I found that there was a lot of pushback on that because people were afraid that it would excuse police behavior if something went wrong and they didn't have a sticker. They were also concerned that these stickers might identify their children or at-risk loved ones to, I don't know, negative feedback from people in the community. It made me think that we need a little more communication between our police department and our parents, especially our parents of disabled children. I'd like to see something happen so that our kids know who our police officers are, so they're less likely to be afraid or react in unusual ways. I'd like to know what our police are doing for training so that they can identify our kids and they aren't seen as suspicious when they're just unusual. So I'm trying to think of how to narrow that focus a little bit, but I feel like there has to be a way to get our parents and our police department on the same page so that they know their children are more safe.
That sounds like a pretty valid concern and an item that we should be involved in as well. And it sounds like, just like with Tyler and his Stop Voter Suppression effort, perhaps that would be a really great thing for you to spearhead on the commission, Ann. I wasn't clear when you were talking about this, whether you favored it. I guess you favored doing this, the sticker idea. But then when you explained what happened, I wasn't sure.
I actually had mixed feelings. I'm of the opinion that anything that decreases my child's risk is a good thing, but a sticker can never replace proper police training and community outreach. I mean, but I also thought that these stickers are helpful for other first responders, a fireman who is responding to my home in the event of a fire, or a paramedic responding to my home in the case of a medical emergency. It's helpful for them also to know that there's, children with autism who live here.
Well, suppose you come up with a title for that effort and think through what you feel about it a little bit more and what you'd like to see done. Because I personally would favor adding that to the agenda then too. And I'd like to call for a motion to add it. Anybody? You can do it too, Ann.
I move we add this to the agenda.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
And all those in favor of adding this item of somehow creating a safer situation between autistic individuals and the police department to our workload.
Aye.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Who
Anybody?
seconded it?
Who seconded? Who was that? I don't recall. It's Tiffany.
I think two of us did, yeah.
Thank you, Tiffany. And Mary, yes.
2.5.
Oh,
Sorry, I had a question. Did we vote on Tyler's? If we're
I-
voting on things?
I think we did we not?
Was it part of the earlier one? I can't remember if we voted on, when we talked about the
Yeah,
rank choice
I thought
and
we
discussed.
No,
Okay, then we're fine.
we didn't vote on
Okay.
Tyler's. We discussed it, but Tyler was going to go away and come back with an appropriate name to add.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
But we never voted to actually add it.
Yeah, that's correct. But do we want to do that tonight? Even though Tyler is going to think it through a little bit more and come back with some thoughts next time?
How about the
I mean,
Richfield Voter Protection Initiatives?
I love that. Richfield Voter Protection Initiative.
Assuming Tyler's made the motion, I will second it.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so we've got 2 items to add. The Richfield Voter Suppression Initiative.
Voter
I'm sorry, was that
Protection.
it? That wasn't it. What
Voter
was it?
Protection.
Protection Initiative.
One.
Yeah, we're gonna do a suppression initiative. So that, and any thoughts on what we want to call your pet, Ann?
Was that Walter who seconded it? Okay, thank you.
Yes. So, autistic safety initiative, I don't know.
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Or disability identification?
Yeah, I like disability better. More inclusive.
Disability Identification Initiative? Does that sound good, Ann?
It does.
So disability, I'm sorry, what was the rest of it? Hello?
Identification initiative?
Disability Identification Initiative. Okay, so both items are added. And
Okay, I'm getting a little lost here.
Oh,
Who
sorry.
seconded that one?
who seconded the autistic or that was Tiffany again.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I do have it, just in different, okay.
Okay, so
we've now got 3 new items. We've got the Disability Identification Initiative and the Richfield
Voter Protection
Initiative and the Free Legal Clinic.
Yes, we do. That's pretty good, I think, for a first night, isn't it?
I'm loving our new members. They're bringing some good stuff. This is great.
Okay, so yeah, I'll add those 3 things. And then the last item on the agenda is unfinished business, unless we have any new business that anybody missed. Did I miss something? Anybody here?
I'm not sure if it's technically new business, and I'm sorry that I don't have more details. I haven't had a chance to watch the recording from the meeting, and maybe Mary, if you were there, I don't remember, maybe you could shed some light on the inclusionary housing policy. So Richfield is currently looking at kind of a triad thing of accessible housing, inclusive, and affordable. So it's kind of this whole housing policy, and I haven't had a chance to watch the city council meeting that I missed. I think there was a work session on that policy, but at the last Richfield Disability Partnership meeting, Gutimote was kind of walking the group through what she had heard from watching the meeting, and then we were going through what RDAP was going to ask for. So we kind of met as a group, and members of RDAP were saying, you know, should we ask for 15% accessible housing? And Judy kind of presented what's been at like the federal level. And I have this information, and I'm sure she'd be fine with me forwarding the PowerPoint on to the group because I don't want to botch any of the numbers. But basically, there's federal levels that are recommended, and then there's state levels for accessible housing. And we were trying to come up with a statement as a group, as RDAP, of how much did we want to ask the city to consider that was above those levels. And then the city had a work session on, again, the accessible part of it, the affordable part of it, because I mean, they're intersectional issues, but there's groups in Richfield that are working more primarily on the affordable aspect. And then RDAP has been working more on the accessible aspect. So I just wanted to provide an update that that's something that's going on. And I'm not sure if, again, Mary, if you know more on what the next steps are, if it's progressing or what's going on, but it's happening is just kind of what I wanted to share, and I'll pass on more as I know more.
And is that something that should bleed over into the Human Rights Commission some way?
Oh yeah, sorry, I should mention, as a part of a past Human Rights Commission kind of initiative that we wanted to do as a commission, we wanted to strengthen our community partnerships with other groups. And so I just kind of happen to be a member of RDAP and this group. So whenever I go to RDAP meetings, I kind of try to update this group if there's news that I'm hearing there. So that's why I bring it up here, is I think it would be a human rights issue, but to my knowledge, this group has not committed in the past to doing anything about this particular housing policy.
And if I'm hearing you, you seem to be interested in that.
Yep, so I'm currently working with RDAP on our recommendations from the accessibility side of things. And that's why I was hoping maybe if Mary does have some info. I'm not clear if the policy is kind of cemented and is moving forward, or where it is in the process.
Mary.
Did you, okay. From my understanding is we were gathering as much input as we could from the community, and there was a lot of feedback, which was wonderful. So we heard from a lot of people on both accessibility and affordability and the intersection of the two things. And so what staff did is we, I think, met for like an hour and a half and got feedback. So they were going to try and look at the things that there was general agreement on and kind of draft a policy, but then continue the discussion and come back with the other pieces. So I think at this point, it's probably better for individuals to look at what happened and give their input on it, because I think there are a lot of different issues that you all seem to be interested in, and you don't want to spread yourselves too thin. So this is one that's like well along in the process. So it's probably better to give feedback, because I don't think it's not something that we're going to have a year and a half to study unless it's to make changes farther down. But I do think it's really good for people to give feedback, because so we're in like the next stage. We'll see what the staff comes back with and then move on from there, because there was a lot of feedback and that was very appropriate. And I really appreciate, Tasha, that you keep informing the group, because I think it's important to keep asking for more feedback.
And my thought on that is that I think that we would add that to the agenda for the time being, each time to get an update from you on that effort and whether or not there's something that we should be doing as a commission.
Sure, and I can go and find the meeting that I'm talking about. I know there was a recording of the work session because they're all publicly available. So if I find that kind of on my to-do list, I'll pass that along, and then along with any feedback from RDAP that the group is comfortable sharing.
Yeah, that sounds great. We'll put you on the agenda next time.
Thanks.
All right, anything else new?
No, Mara, I just wanted to point out part of our work agenda plan was looking at partnerships. So what Tasha was doing was a part of that partnerships. And so that we can maybe talk about in the future as part of our work plan, so that we do bring information that is impactful to this committee, so we can either do individual input or we do something as a group.
Yeah, I think as Tasha informs us more, we might become more focused on what we might be able to do. So yeah, it's not something, we don't need to make a decision about everything tonight. So, but it sounds like, yeah, it sounds like something we should have an interest in, of course. All right, anything else in new business? That's a no. You got nothing. All right. And then the last, well, item 7 on the agenda is unfinished business, which was to review and possibly modify the work plan. And I would propose that we take that from the top. It is 7:37. We've got 23 minutes left, and I think that that's plenty of time to do this. So does everybody have, by any chance, access to the work plan that was sent out by Susie? And you can refer to it. I have it. I printed it. It's here. I would like to discuss item by item, if possible, but everybody should be able to follow along. Are we in a good situation there? Hello? What do we think? Anybody?
I'm at a loss. I will admit I don't have the work plan in front of me.
You don't have it. Well, you know, we can kind of like just go through item by item briefly.
Yeah, more for the new people, if they do or do not, it might be just nice to go through each one of them and just mention them. And
yeah, okay, let's do that.
So the new people know what's actually on the agenda and where we are so far.
Yeah, so, and I guess I'll just, oh, all right.
Awesome.
Is that, who did this, Susie?
Chris.
Chris, I did.
Thank you, Chris. Very good. Now everybody can look. And the first item at the top was the Indigenous Peoples Day celebration. That's not until October, but the commission wanted to do something that partnered with the American Indian Education Group to host a citywide celebration of Indigenous peoples on October 11th, possibly land designation. It says here that the commission has received a grant from the Richfield Foundation to sponsor this event. And I believe there's some money involved with this one, is there not? Mary, do you remember that?
Yes, there's money.
Yeah, and how much money is it? I don't remember. Nobody knows. And
yeah, I don't remember for sure. I want to say it was like $2,000, but I am not confident in that at all.
We were going to be doing this last year when we changed from Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day, but then the virus got in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had things almost set up. Like we had like catering. We were looking into catering. We had like dancers coming, and then yeah, it just didn't happen.
And who all was involved with that, Katie?
I think.
Were you?
Brett, I think was.
I was.
Were you? Okay.
Okay. Brett was mostly, but I was involved. And I think that's been one of the challenges with this committee. It's been one person, and so if someone leaves, we don't have a lot of history with it. So I would encourage us that we not do a project entirely on our own, but do it as 1 or 2 people. That's my input.
The thing with the Indigenous Peoples Day is because we had a contact person in the school system, I think, and they had like set pretty much everything up. So that's why we never actually had any like committee meetings or anything like that, as far as I'm aware, for Indigenous Peoples Day, because that person just like ran with it.
Okay. On the work plan draft, we have the names Chris, Katie, and Tasha, as in you folks volunteered to be part of this effort last time we talked about it, I guess, or whenever that was. And so are we still good with that? Are we still thinking that you 3 are the drivers of this effort that may possibly take place in October this year?
Yeah, I'm still willing to
You're still thinking that's still in your mind as kind of your thing. Is that right? Katie?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if it looks like we can have events this year, then I would like to be able to actually have the event.
I want to be optimistic that we're going to be able to do that. That sounds like a pretty neat thing to do. So, and how about Chris and Tasha? Are you still on board with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Tasha? Yes. So we've got 3 names, and that's pretty, I mean, for now, I think that's good for now. Moving on to the naturalization ceremony, that is a partnering with the U.S. District Court for the District of Minnesota and the Richfield Public School District to host a naturalization event. And it's my understanding that that is really a neat thing that happens. That also didn't happen because of the pandemic. Does anybody know when that is typically going to take place? And if
that usually takes place in February, I think it usually takes place on President's Day.
So we already missed it? Is that what you're saying?
For this year, yeah. This year we knew it wasn't going to be able to happen.
Okay, so that means we should cross this off the list, yes? For this year.
For this year, yeah. It would be if people wanted to plan for a possibility for next year, they could.
Very good. Proclamations. Proclamations is something that we haven't come up with any this year. Last year we did a proclamation for LGBT for Pride Month. We did a proclamation related to the 19th Amendment, the right of women to vote, which happened in 2020. And we haven't come up with anything that we want to do a proclamation for this year. So there's mention of Indigenous Peoples Day here. And is there a possibility that we would do that this year, even though the naturalization ceremony isn't happening? That has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, never mind. The idea is we need to come up, I think, with something to proclaim in the coming year. So unless somebody has any ideas right now, we can move beyond this. And
just for something to chew on, like proclamations, like from what, like proclaiming via like city, social media pages, or I guess just for understanding where we would be proclaiming.
Sure. So we've done. Oh yeah, go ahead.
We've done, and actually, we last year we also did the Americans with Disabilities Act. I think that's in August. And we write up a proclamation, submit it to the city, so the governor, so the mayor and the city council can present a proclamation during that specific month. One or two of us go and they present the proclamation at a city council meeting, proclaiming, I think it was like August was Americans with Disabilities Act month. And
yeah, I wish I had a copy of the proclamation of Pride Month to show everybody.
I don't think we did Pride Month last year, did we?
Yeah, I received it. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
I was the person that received it from the city council. So I mean, we can do that again this year. Obviously, Pride. But I mean, it's really kind of wide open. Anybody that has something that they think we should celebrate. That's really basically what a proclamation is. It's celebrating something big that happened or is going to happen in the coming year. So I think we'll just leave it as anybody that wants to, or just leave it at, think about it for next time, I guess, right? How about that? We got to do a proclamation or two. We don't have any right now, so see what you think, and then we'll talk about it next time. The next item was Penn Fest, and Penn Fest obviously is an outdoor event that takes place on Penn Avenue. In when does that happen? In October?
September.
September, and I think we got a chance on that, and we have the name Katie on that. And Katie, are you thinking that still might be your charge this year? And is anybody else interested in being? I will hang out with with whoever at Penn Fest for a while too. So I mean,
It usually the commission just plans like what we're going to do. So we usually have to have like an interactive feature, I think, for the booth. And then closer to the event, we would pass out like a sign up. So
right. Yeah. So if anybody has done boothing before, that's, you know, you just kind of hang around in a tent with information and be a good ambassador for the Human Rights Commission.
yeah, obviously last year got canceled, but the year before that was the 50th anniversary of the Human Rights Commission. So
well, I'm sure hoping that we'll do it this year because I enjoy Penn Fest. And if anybody wants to be part of it, besides Katie, I guess I'll go ahead and put my name on Penn Fest. Why not? I think I can handle doing that. Anybody else want to do Penn Fest?
Yeah, I'll jump on it with you guys. This is Tiffany.
Yeah, great, Tiffany. Thank you.
I was gonna say that like for the 50th, I just made like science fair style like displays that had a bunch of like facts and like a quiz about the Human Rights Commission in Richfield. The year before that, we did a thing where people would write. We had like strips of paper, and people would write something on them that made them a unique person or a city member. Like we made them into a chain.
That sounds great. Yeah, I absolutely. Hopefully, we're doing that. That'd be great.
William Green
looks
is
like
here.
Well, one at a time.
William Green just popped in.
Oh, he did.
There he is.
Hey, William Green.
Hello.
Well,
Can you hear
we
me?
can hear you, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Hi. Welcome.
All right.
Glad to have you.
Well, good to be here. I was recuperating, and so I thought I had some time. I wanted to at least hear what's going on. But yeah, we have been out for a little recuperation, so. But I wanted to at least catch this tonight, so I'm glad, and I'm hearing good stuff again. What you guys are doing, so appreciate it.
Well, and before we end this tonight, William, I'd like to have you. We had you on the agenda to introduce yourself and talk a couple minutes. So we'll do that after. We'll revisit that when we finish this work plan.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Partnerships. We already kind of talked about that. It's just another thing that commission members should think about. And if they come up with something before the next meeting, be prepared to present.
This is Chris.
Chris,
and
please.
I put together kind of a spreadsheet on the different things of different committees and such, but we did not at that time have the luxury of having Bill as our as part of our committee at that time. So I think that we should spend some time with Bill and talk about the partnerships with the community, and if he has some recommendations of target areas.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we'll do that exactly after we get to the introduction of Bill.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Yep.
The next item on the work plan was Outstanding Citizen of the Year. And that is something that is open to the full commission, and it's basically, I think we put up somebody that we think has been an extraordinary Richfield resident. Is that right? What's the process? Anybody know about that process? And did we do an Outstanding Citizen of the Year in 2020?
We did not because of the COVID. And what we talked about prior was that the criteria is rather vague and that we maybe should look at it to clarify who can be nominated, and also how do we get nominations. We've only had, in the 2 years I've been here, like 1 or 2 people nominated, and so we just thought we should spend some more time on looking at the criteria and how do we get people nominated.
Do you know where the criteria is?
I do, and I can send it to you tonight.
Let's do that, and then let's put that on the agenda for next time.
And then also we've got the criteria that other boy, I'm just at a loss for words. I'm so used to isolation. I'm not used to talking to anyone. That we've got criteria from like Edina, Roseville, a couple of other communities that are like us and what they use for their criteria.
And would you be willing to check on that by the next meeting?
Yeah, I'd love for someone to be a partner with me and look at it so that we could make a recommendation.
Anybody interested in doing that?
I can hop on that one too if you guys want.
And you are?
Tiffany.
Okay. I've got
Okay,
multiple
so-
screens open, so I'm not always have people up and, okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's
No
Michelle
problem.
and Tiffany on that.
No, Chris and
Yeah.
Tiffany.
I'm sorry, Chris and
Chris and
Tiffany. Okay, so we'll put that on the agenda for next time. The next item is racial covenants and structural racism in Richfield. Partner with community members to host an event or events focusing on the history of racial housing covenants and structural racism in Richfield. And then it says if this is taken up in 2021, we may need to reach out to Brett Sturza for contacts in the community.
That was something that was all planned out and they were having 3 events at,
Really?
yes. And then
3
COVID,
events?
yeah, 3 different workshops at the government center. And they had speakers lined up, at least for 1 or 2, I'm not sure if all 3, but it was well organized and then COVID came.
All right, so how do we resurrect that?
I think what we talked about was waiting
I
to
would like
find
to,
out if we can have it and then getting back to Brett and getting the contacts.
So is it your opinion that the best thing to do on this item is to contact Brett? That's where the information is.
Yes, once we know we can do something.
Okay, so this is, again, all contingent, everything, it's like the other items that we discussed, it's contingent upon being able to meet in person again. This is something that is an in-person, it's not something that can be done virtually.
Correct. It was in speakers coming in.
Does anybody want to be the contact person with Brett to?
Yeah, this is Tyler. I would like to be a part of that.
Tyler, you have that. And do you know Brett? I don't know Brett.
Not yet.
Okay, so the idea, let's see, is that on? That is not on the list. Susie,
We can get you that. We can get you that contact information, Tyler.
Are you going to do that? Chris?
Sure.
You're going to get that to Tyler.
Sure.
Very good. Thank you. So Tyler, maybe we'll put that on the agenda as well, and we'll talk about that next time.
Great.
Thank you for volunteering, Tyler. Next item is the DEI work plan for commission. I don't know what DEI is. What is that?
That's actually me. Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Oh, well, thank you. Should we just put that off to the last item again?
No,
we're getting close to 8. Are we okay to go a little bit over, or should we just skip ahead to William?
It's up to you guys.
Well, let me.
To
Okay.
William.
Okay, before we do that, can I just give a quick update on the conversion therapy ban, because that's my thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
We are fortunate in that Bloomington has undertaken an effort to do that as we speak, and they're well along in that effort. And I'm in contact and have all the materials for what's being done in Bloomington, so that we can steal and then borrow. We can basically take the things that worked well and expand on them and avoid the pitfalls. So I have a friend who is part of that effort, and I just wanted to say that I will be creating a deck for a presentation to the city council. And I would like to call a meeting of the people that are involved in that effort only sometime in the next week or two, if that would be all right. And Tasha, you were on that. And
Yep, works for me.
Mary, you were on that.
Point of clarification, Mara,
Please,
is
yes.
this something rather than going directly to the council that comes through our committee for support and endorsement?
Well, I don't know. Do we think that that's how that should work? Before we present to the council, we should present here?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, we did something like this with the bathrooms. When I first came on, the commission, I can't remember the name, but one of the commission members, this was their forte. They wanted, and we as a commission worked on it, worked up a memo note that went to the city as to our desire to have not generic bathrooms, but you know.
Yeah, well, I can say I've got all the material and all the work that's been done.
And so it all started with the commission, and then we came up with it with the memo and stuff, and then it went on to the city to follow up on.
Okay. Well, and because it's almost 8 o'clock, I am just going to say that I will work up a deck, a presentation, rough draft for everybody in this little group to talk about, and I will do that by like next Wednesday, perhaps. Does next Wednesday sound okay for Tasha and Mary here?
Yep,
Or
we can talk later. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll send out an email about that. And with that, we'll move on to Mr. Green. So, if you would please introduce yourself and what you're going to be doing. We consider you probably a very important member of this commission going forward. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Wow. This is my first time to one of the commission's meeting, particularly with here with the HRC. I'm excited to be a part of this whole administration. As you know, this is a new position, but again, it's not a new work that I'm not familiar with equity and inclusion. And so that's why I wanted to make sure I want to at least get in on the meeting, despite some of the challenges I was having, but I want to hear what was going on, get a sense of where you guys were with things. Two, I say first, again, just want to appreciate the leadership that you guys are taking and wanting to make sure again that a sense of equity, a sense of inclusion, a sense of, again, community is really being carried out. I was watching you guys just going through and then looking at the different items. It really is because of the awareness about the community, about the needs, that these commissions get a chance to really speak into the community and provide really leadership to the community at large. It almost took me back to when I was first learning what it meant to be involved in student government. When I was growing up in South Central, I had no knowledge of what student government really was, but I remember I wanted to go and be a part of it. And so that day really became a real eye-opener to me about leadership, about what it meant to be a part of that, my junior high school at the time. So again, it was just good to see, again, you guys carrying on, engaging as civic leaders, really, to a community here, city of Ridgefield. And so I've been asked to be a part of this as a liaison to the group. As you know, we will represent you guys before the administration. My forte, again, is the diversity and equity. I do have a few friends here in Ridgefield who are involved in some leadership opportunities. And so I, again, can use some of my knowledge with them and their connections, again, to support the group. I did want to reference the one activity, the DEI training. Did many of you met Tiffany Jackson?
I haven't.
interview. Okay, haven't. Tiffany was the consultant that came on last year and began this work of equity and inclusion. She brought forth many of the trainings for the staff and administration mainly last year. And if I remember, she did not really do things for the commissions. And so this year, we've actually brought Tiffany back, as well as I'm being here, to put forth, again, some trainings on equity and inclusion. And so she's selected about 3 dates, and we're actually inviting all the commissions to be a part of this training for equity and inclusion. And so I don't know, did any of you guys get the letters already?
We did, and
okay,
yeah,
everybody's been encouraged to sign up. So
okay, good. Okay, so that's what I was going to reference. So she and I will be a part of that as well. Again, the training for those moments. And so we're excited about the opportunity for you to both learn and to grow in this work of equity. So again, just by way of introduction today, I again just want to thank you guys for your leadership and your support in carrying forth the message of the administration, but also again with this emphasis on equity and inclusion. I'm excited to be a part of that conversation and really just helping people to gain the insights on what that is about. And so thanks again for this opportunity.
Great, thank you, William.
Any questions? I'm open to also. So
yeah, no, we're very pleased to have you, and it sounds like you'd be a valuable member of the commission. So, and with that, we are 3 minutes over, and I'm a person that hates to be over. So, I'm going to call for a motion to adjourn. We're good, I think, and unless somebody has a feeling or an opinion about we missed something here. Any thoughts? Did I miss anything important? Are we okay for quitting for the night? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? Anybody?
Adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
motion to adjourn.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. So I guess that's it for the